On what basis would the investigation of lawyers' accounts be? You talked about investigating lawyers' account. On what basis would it be if they were to go about it?
What I'm saying is, I said if the retired chief judges of this country made a statement that they are colonial judges, if he made such a statement, I'm taking it very, very serious because of the person who made that statement. That was sometime last year. Now, if he said so, as he said so, then we should investigate. A man will live a lifestyle in such a way that you know that ordinarily he's living above his means. You can ask the security or the people in charge of such investigations to do some digging. Once they find out something, then they bring it for questioning. These things can be done. We don't wait until somebody writes a petition, nobody will write. Just like going back to the lawyers too. People should learn to petition a lawyer. The lawyer maltreats you. If your lawyer eats your money and you're his client, you can petition him to the Nigerian Practitioner Judiciary Committee. The committees are there, they are waiting. People should not shy away and leave it for God. Or say, no, God will take care. God is up all of us. God has left certain things for us to do as human beings. If a lawyer has done something wrong and you know it's unethical, take it before the appropriate judiciary committee of the MD. They know the state. And I will listen to you. And I will just end up by saying that we have also talk about judiciary staff. We have problem with judiciary staff in Nigeria. Those clerks you see there who work in judiciary. Sometimes they don't give somebody money, the fight doesn't move from one table to the other. And we lawyers sometimes encourage it by giving them money in and out, which is wrong. They are paid salaries. Sometimes somebody will tell you that this case you are fine. If you don't bring some amount of money, I'm not pushing it to the next level. And we tolerate all this. So that there should be in the judiciary themselves, they should have the people can drop petitions about airing staff. And they should be trained. Continuous training for these judicial officers, the junior cadre staff, is very important. So that their comportment, the way they talk to people and how they do their job, they should matter very much. You know, that's what I have to contribute. To conclude what I'm saying, to conclude my submission on these things. Please, if you want to appoint judges, this is my conclusion. You will appoint a judge, yes, to the Supreme Court from the bench, from the rank and file. There are times that some serious contests go outside and you can appoint a professor in the university as a judge of the Supreme Court. It has been done before in this country. There was a judge in this country, the Chief Justice of Nigeria. He wasn't even a judge, catching the liars. He was appointed from outside. Okay? We have come to a stage where we can bring people from outside the normal wrong to come and bring some life in. Put some activity into the judiciary. It wasn't be a judge who has gone through the High Court, and gone to the Court of Appeal, the Supreme Court. No. We can't have the Court of Appeal, Supreme Court level, because at that level we're talking of policy courts that draw precedents, draw policies for the country. You can go outside and take legal practitioners who have excelled, whose mind we know that we can trust, because the mindset is very important. It is the mind is bringing, what value is bringing to the Supreme Court is mind, nothing else. So we can take them from outside and bring them on to the bench. It will do a lot of good to the system if we can do this.
All right, then. Thank you, Mr. LP, for speaking with us this morning on Sunrise Today. Well, he got some interesting suggestions he made there, but in terms of funding, who's supposed to push that point? I mean, if the lawyers don't do it and politicians don't want to do it because, well, quote unquote, they may seem to be having their way, how will it be done?
The obviously, it's in the interest of the executive not to give the judiciary financial independence, because that's the only way they can, he will pays the piper, dictates the tune. The executive wants to control the judiciary. Now, in Nigeria, legislation is largely executive-driven. If you see most of the bills that are passed into law, they emanate from the executive. The judiciary, because of its nature, is armstrong. Judges cannot go and forcefully push for legislation. The other party that ought to take on that responsibility is the bar, and that is the Nigerian Bar Association, should forcefully and vigorously push for this reform in our legislation so that constitutionally the judiciary becomes self-accounting.
You know, GT also spoke about, the structure of the judiciary, saying that the way it is pyramid-shaped, and that he believes that there should be more powers devolved to the state arms of the judiciary, almost suggesting that almost every state should also have a Supreme Court. Do you agree?
Well, yeah, to a large extent, it has to be, anywhere you go, is largely a pyramid shape. In the UK, they now have a Supreme Court at the top of the judiciary. They have a Court of Appeal, and they have the High Courts and various other courts. It has to be pyramid. There is no other structure. Even if you say, let's go to the state, each state will have a Supreme Court. You are going to have probably one Supreme Court, several High Courts.
That's still a pyramid shape.
It's still a pyramid shape. But what you need to do is to reduce the volume of cases that goes to the apex court, which is what we don't have now. Now it's an all-comers affair.
Okay.
I can slap you in this room today, and years down the line, we're going to the Supreme Court for it.
All right, look at this matter, because some think that financial autonomy for the judiciary should be the last thing in this reform process if it takes off, because they say they can't just quickly discountenance the fact that some judges or the judiciary has been politicized. Look at this Salami matter, the way politicians commented about it, the Osun State matter, the way they commented about it. Some think that some parties use the judiciary to get judgment. And so if that thought or that impression is not corrected, how comfortable will the executive be in letting them have this financial autonomy?
It should be it's the inverse, what you're saying, because it's largely because people know that the state governors can control the state judiciary. That's where the perception comes from. But if the judiciary had financial independence, then it doesn't matter who the governor is, because the CJ knows my funds are coming to me. I do not have to lick his boots. I do not have to be a sycophant to collect my money, to collect funding from him. They don't need to go cap in hand to send judges on courses, to send judges for training, to send judicial staff for training. Now, to pick on the point that the last scholar spoke about, which is the judiciary staff, I think one of the reforms that ought to be put in place is to now ensure that court clerks and most people who work in the judiciary are graduates and qualified lawyers. We need to step up the level of the education of the staff and the kind of people who work there.
Interesting.
I think that will make a difference.